Hello and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Barbara Rogers. Joining me in the studio is Fehmeen Picetti. She is the surviving spouse of Jason Picetti, who recently lost his battle with ALS. And thank you for coming by to talk to us today. And I should say that ALS is commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
How old was your husband?
My husband was 38 when he was diagnosed. It was actually when I was 3 months pregnant. We'd been married for 1 year.
What had happened that made him suspicious that something was wrong?
Well, he's a teacher, and pretty much school had just started, and he was telling me that he had problems speaking. And he would have these tremors or fasciculations all over his arms. And so that was the first symptom, and that was the first thing he actually lost was his voice.
Did they immediately know what was wrong when he went in for his first checkup?
No, he's so young, so it's so rare to have ALS at such a young age. So he first had symptoms in November 2007, and he was officially diagnosed February 2008.
And he died in this year?
Yes, October 13th, after 4 years.
What was your life like as a caregiver and a spouse during the time that he was ill?
Very, very difficult. Basically, Jason needs 100% care. He was completely dependent on us for everything. I have a young child, she's 3.5 now, and caregiving costs are through the roof because Jason had a feeding tube, he was on a BiPAP, he couldn't speak, so it was very hard for him to communicate his needs. So he had an eye gaze machine that uses eyes to communicate. Obviously, I'm a teacher. I was full-time employed as well. So financially, it's a huge strain on the family, but also emotionally as well.
How did you deal with all of this?
I'm very lucky because his parents, Jason was an only child, so his parents offered to live together, and they helped raise my daughter and also take care of Jason while I was at work.
You also got some help from the ALS Foundation?
Absolutely. The ALS clinic is there. It's a clinic model, so you're able to go to the clinic and see all the different specialists every 3 months, but also Jason and I would also participate every year in a walk, the Walk to Defeat ALS.
And you actually did the walk very soon after he died?
Just a few days later, yes.
How were you able to do that?
It's important because Jason's passing really affirmed the fact the need to find a cure right away. ALS can strike anyone, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, and we were just starting our life together, and that's when the disease struck our family. So it's important to bring awareness to everyone, including the youth, and we do that at our school community as well.
How much did you know about this disease before it affected your family?
I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. And then, when I started researching, there's a lot being done, but not soon enough. We definitely need more funding to discover, a cure for this disease.
When you told your friends and other people and your students and other people in your life about it, what was the reaction?
They were horrified. They couldn't believe it. Jason was a wonderful man. He was an excellent teacher, and we had so much support from our school community. But it's difficult because when you lose your voice, it's hard to stay still present, and in conversations and things like that. So I really tried to be Jason's voice in the last 4 years.
It was very interesting. He kept a blog for part of the time.
Yes.
And how was he able to do that?
Through his eye gaze machine. So basically it's a computer that you just use your eyes. You look into the screen and a blink is a selection. So he was able to type using his eyes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And I noticed in some of his blog entries that he kept a sense of humor.
Always. We both did. Even in the hardest times, we always turned to that. And of course our daughter, because she truly is our hope. So we're very fortunate to have had her.
Well, thank you for coming in and telling us about your experiences. We're going to have you talk again another time about how people can get involved.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching another edition of Comcast Newsmakers. I hope you'll be with us again next time. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Barbara Rogers. With me in the studio now is Fehmeen Picetti. She is the surviving spouse of Jason Picetti, who recently lost his battle with ALS, which is commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Thank you for coming back again to talk with us more about your life and your experiences with this disease, and also about how people can help people who have ALS. Your husband died in October.
Yes.
He was only 38 years old?
Yes.
And you two had only been married how long when he was diagnosed?
We'd been married for 1 year, and I was pregnant, and so we were married for a total of 5 years when he passed.
This is a difficult thing for anyone to deal with, but I would imagine it was especially difficult for you being pregnant, being a new bride.
Yes, yes.
How did you cope with it? Where did you find the resources to cope?
Well, first, Jason, he has amazing spirit, so that helped. He was always optimistic through it all. But we really reached out to our resources, like the ALS Association was very, very helpful. We joined walks. The Walk to Defeat ALS. We did that every single year to raise money to find a cure, and also to reach out to the ALS community to find commonalities in our situation.
Your team walked 3 days after he died.
Yes, we did. We did. That was very important to us. That's what Jason would have wanted. And it was important that, although Jason lost his battle, there are still many, many people out there in our same situation who are fighting to find a cure. And time is of the essence. Every 90 minutes, someone is diagnosed with ALS, and every 90 minutes someone loses that battle. So, I would never want this disease to strike another family like it did ours.
And still, they don't know what causes it.
They have no idea. They really, really don't.
Are there any new promising treatments or anything promising that looks like they might be getting close to a cure?
There's many drugs to treat symptoms. And, Jason was part of clinical trials, and some of those drugs were approved, but there's absolutely no cure at this point. But if you want information on that, you should definitely visit the ALS Golden West chapter, and you can go there to find out information, to learn how to advocate, to donate, etc.
Now, how much money did your team raise?
We raised a little over $3,000. Yes, we did.
But overall, there was quite an effort this year.
Yes, very close to $1 million. Very close. So there's still time to donate. If you go to walktodefeatals.org, please consider donating, or even just getting a team together to walk to support finding a cure.
There are other things that the ALS Association does too to help people who are going through the same situation that you were in.
Sure. There's informational things online that you can look about caregiving, how to find caregivers, things like that, promising clinical trials. So it's there if you're willing to look it up and spend the time. And I think that for us, my husband and I were both teachers, and so we really tapped into our school community to bring awareness. And I think it's really important to target our youth, because once they hear, and they saw the progression in my husband, and that really struck a chord in them. And I feel like, although they might not directly have someone in their family who has ALS, they feel like ALS has touched them in some way. And I think that when they get older, by then I hope that they found a cure. And we can only do that with funding.
The kids in the school and where he taught in your school, they got involved in helping?
Absolutely.
With the fundraising?
Absolutely, they did, and they join us for the walk every year as well. So I'm hoping our team is even bigger next year.
Well, what would you like to say to people about this disease and about people who have it?
I think it's just really, really important to get involved. I think if you stick in your own home and just deal with the person who has the illness, you're not going to get very far. I think that although my husband lost the battle, there's just many people, like I said, who are going through this. And I've made a promise that although Jason passed away, I am now going to get involved to try to find a cure for others.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about your experiences and about ALS.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Comcast Newsmakers, and I hope you'll join us again next time. Bye-bye.